This is the very first module of our subject, Basic Electrical Engineering. This module contains, this subject in fact contains 5 units, out of which now we are going to start for the very first module, which is related to the analysis of DC circuits. So, right from the beginning, we are going to study in this particular chapter about the behavior of the various components such as resistor, inductor and capacitor when subjected to a DC supply. So before moving on to the analysis of circuits, it is required to have a prior knowledge of some of the electrical terminology and about the electrical components. So starting with the basic, we would be doing a review of what we have learned previously, such as the basic component is resistance. So what does a resistance mean? Resistance means an obstacle towards the flow of current. Obstacle towards the flow of current. The property of the material by virtue of which a material opposes the flow of current through it is known as the resistance. Similarly, whenever we talk about resistance, we always come to the property of resistivity. In fact, the term resistance is governed by the property of the material, which is known as resistivity. If we define resistance with the symbol R, then we define resistivity with the symbol rho, and this resistivity is directly, let us define it in terms of resistance. Resistance is proportional to the length of a material, whereas inversely proportional to the cross-sectional area, which is perpendicular to the flow of current. So this property, resistivity, now we can write in terms of resistance is equal to this is the inherent property of the material. Next, we are going to learn about some of the common terminology which we utilize while studying the DC circuits. The first terminology is about linear elements. Linear elements when compared with the non-linear elements. So what are linear elements? The linear elements are those elements in which the relationship between voltage and current is in the form of a straight line. So in those elements in which current and voltage are directly proportional to each other, such elements are said to be linear elements. So whenever we draw a graph between V and I of such elements, always the graph comes out to be a linear line or the straight line passing through origin. This also is a linear line. This also is a linear function, but in terms of electrical engineering subject, we do not call the elements which causes this type of characteristic linear. This is not linear in terms of electrical engineering. In electrical engineering, the relationship between voltage and current is to be a straight line passing through origin. So this is the only linear characteristic. Such elements having this type of characteristics are said to be linear elements. This is also one of the linear elements. This is also one of the characteristics of a linear element. So all these elements which have a relationship between voltage and current in form of of a straight line passing through OT, such elements are said to be linear elements. In non-linear elements, which are not linear, means in such elements the characteristic between voltage and current is not of this kind. This is elements which don't have linear characteristic between V and I. For example, let us say V and I. In case of a diode, a diode has got somewhat this kind of forward bias characteristics and somewhat this kind of reverse bias characteristics. So we can easily see that this relationship between voltage and current is not in the form of a straight line. So this characteristic is defined for a non-linear kind of element. So we have now examples also with us. So for the linear element, example is resistor. In case of non-linear elements, that example is a diode. So this is the basic difference between linear and non-linear elements. Next, another terminology is defined as unilateral and bilateral elements. Unilateral and bilateral. Uni means one, bi means two, and lateral refers to the direction. So whenever we refer to the bilateral term, this means that those elements which are having their characteristics similar when the inputs are applied from two different directions, or whenever the polarity of the cause is being reversed, if it does not make changes into the magnitude of the response, then we say the element is bilateral element. So we can understand it by the help of an example. Let us say this is a resistor. Let us say this is a DC source. So first we should have a proper understanding about the terminals of a given electrical element. Whenever we study about DC networks or whenever we study about single phase AC networks, in those cases each element, whether it is a source or it is a load, every element possesses two terminals. So let us say the two terminals of resistance are this, say terminal A and B. Similarly, for DC electrical source also we are having two terminals of this source. Let us say terminal 1 and terminal 2. So if we connect terminal A of resistance with terminal 1 of DC battery and terminal B of resistance with terminal 2 of DC battery, then we can say that the terminal A of load is connected to the positive terminal of battery, whereas terminal B of load is connected to the negative terminal of the battery. So this source E and this resistance R, capital R. This source E, it is basically the cause. What kind of cause? The cause to drive this entire electric circuit. So this cause results in an effect in the form of flow of current through R. So this E is cause, whereas I is effect of the cause. So this E causes a flow flow of current I through resistance R, and its value is given as I is equal to V by R, sorry, E by R. E by R. So now this circuit, from this circuit we are going to understand about the concept of bilateral elements. So now when we have a knowledge of what is cause and what is effect, then now we are in a state to define the bilateral elements. So if now we reverse the direction of cause, now if we reverse the direction of cause, now this is terminal 1 and this is terminal 2, this remains the same, terminal A and terminal B, value is same, E. So we have reversed the direction of cause. Now we are going to connect terminal A of load with terminal 2 of source and the terminal B of load with terminal 1 of the DC source. Now we have only changed the direction of cause E. Whether the change in direction of cause E produces any kind of effect over the magnitude of response, not the direction. The direction of current I is now counterclockwise, but the magnitude of I is still the same. Magnitude is still the same, though the direction is reversed. In the first case, we are having a flow of current in the clockwise direction. In the second case, we are having current in the counterclockwise direction. So, direction is reversed, but there is no change in the magnitude of the effect. So, now we can define completely the bilateral elements. Such elements in which on reversing the direction of cause does not affect the magnitude of response, or the effect does not changes the magnitude of the effect, such elements are said to be bilateral elements. So we have resistance as an example of bilateral element. So we have resistance as an example of bilateral element. Then what is unilateral? Uni, as the word itself states, uni means one, bi means two. So from the two directions, the magnitude of effect is unchanged. From both the directions, the magnitude of effect is unchanged. Such an element is bilateral. Now for the unilateral elements, if on reversing the direction of cause, the magnitude of effect changes, then such an element is said to be a unilateral element. For example, let us say in case of diode, as we have drawn these characteristics, in case of diode, if suppose diode were to be a bilateral, if diode was a bilateral element, then if we have a forward biased characteristic of diode, let us say this kind. Let us say we are having, say, V and I. Let us say this point is for 1 volt, this is for 2 volt, corresponding, let us say this corresponding current is suppose 5 ampere, then let us say this is 10 ampere. So in this case, if diode is a, suppose that diode is a bilateral element. If it is bilateral, then if this is the forward bias characteristic, then what should be the reverse bias characteristic of a diode? So on reversing the direction of cause, this means we are reversing the value of V, then we would be having the symmetry about the origin. If this is the forward bias characteristic, and let us suppose that diode is a bilateral element, then diode would be having a characteristic like the same, the symmetry about the origin. If this were to be the characteristic of a diode, then diode would have been a bilateral element. but this is not so. Diode is actually having the reverse bias characteristic in a different manner, in a different shape. So, such elements in which on reversing the direction of cause, the magnitude of effect is changed, such an element is said to be unilateral. So, we have another example of unilateral element as a diode. Other examples are transistors, thyristors. So these all are the elements which are having the characteristics of an unilateral element. The next comparison is about, now that we have studied two comparisons, linear and non-linear elements, then unilateral and bilateral elements. So the next comparison is about active and passive elements. Active and passive elements. So what are active elements and what is, in which manner these active elements are different from that of passive elements? So active elements are those elements which are source of electrical energy, which are source of electrical energy. Source of energy. So what are the kinds of sources of electrical energy? For electrical energy we have a battery as a source of energy or a source of voltage. We can have cell as a source of energy. We can have a DC, rectifier output as a source of electrical energy. So all these comes under the category of active elements. Also, the elements which amplify the level of voltage or current, which amplify voltage or current, are said to be under the category of active elements. Then what are the passive elements? So in case of passive elements, either the element would be consuming power, it would be either dissipating power, or it would be storing power. So an element which either consumes power or dissipates power or it stores power is said to be a passive element. So what is the difference between consuming power and dissipating power? Dissipating power is always counted as a loss of power or the loss of energy, whereas consuming power is the utilization of the power. That means that power is being converted from electrical into some other usable form. So that power is not a loss of power, that is the utilized power, the power consumed for having some kind of output. What is storing of power? Like we have two elements, inductor and capacitor, which have the capability of storing the energy, such as capacitor stores energy. We have formula already studied, half CV square, half QV. So these are the energy storing elements. In case of inductor, we have energy is equal to Li square half. So this is the basic difference between the active and passive elements. So now that we have already studied about some of the properties of elements, so now we can move on to the next level of knowledge, that is kinds of sources. Since we are studying the subject of electrical engineering, so we would be dealing about the only the electrical sources. So next we have source of electrical energy or electrical sources. Electrical sources. So the broad classification of electrical sources, we have broadly classified the electrical sources under two categories: voltage sources and current sources. This is the broad classification. Then further, whenever we analyze something or analyze some system, we always try to keep the things as simple as possible by assuming the system to be an ideal one. So the further classification is ideal voltage source. Then when we have the knowledge of ideal component, then we move on, then we expand our analysis towards moving with the practical system. So next classification is practical voltage sources. The same classification is being done for the current sources. Here also, first we will be analyzing ideal current source. Later on, we shall be moving to the practical current source. So, from the foundation knowledge, we are very much already familiar with the term voltage source. However, we may not be familiar with the current source. We don't have any idea about what a current source looks like or what properties are inherited by the current sources. So, we are going to start with the ideal voltage source. So, let us say this is a voltage source having a value of E. So, what makes this voltage source to be an ideal one? Let us say this is a load resistance RL. So, what property makes this voltage source as an ideal one? So, if this source is an ideal one, then these are the load terminals. Load terminals. So, the voltage across load is defined as V subscript L. So, if this is an ideal voltage source, then whenever it is connected to a load, the value of load voltage should always remain constant, as well as the value should always remain equal to the value of source. Then we can say this source is an ideal voltage source. So, if VL is always equal to value of source voltage E, then we can say that this source is an ideal one. This load voltage, the value of load voltage should not be dependent upon the value of load resistance R. Then we can say this as a constant ideal voltage source. Now then, what is the practical voltage source? For the practical voltage source, the value of load resistance, the value of load voltage does not remains constant, does not remains constant. In fact, this value of load voltage depends and varies with the variation of the load resistance R. How? Because in case of practical voltage source, we are having an internal resistance of this voltage source. So this is this complete. This is a practical voltage source having an internal resistance of value small r. So what characteristics are different for ideal voltage source and practical voltage source? Let us see. In case of ideal voltage source, so how do we define the characteristic of a given element? Let us say this is a voltage source. So for voltage source, the output is also a voltage. So what parameter are we going to, what are the measurable parameters for this given voltage source? The measurable parameters are the value of load voltage with respect to load current. So when the source is an ideal one, the load voltage, the value of load voltage is always constant at the value of P. VL is always equal to voltage. It does not depend upon the value of load current I. Whereas in this case we are having, what will be the value of current I? In this case we are having I is equal to P upon R plus RL. So what is the value of load voltage here? This, we can label it this as current, load current IL, and this voltage as the VL.